The galaxy had seen wars, invasions, plagues, and falling empires for thousands of years, but nothing prepared it for what drifted into council space on a quiet morning. 3 scout ships, all cut in half with perfect smooth lines, arrived without any power, without any bodies, and without any signs of fire. They floated like dead ghosts, silently warning everyone who saw them. Admiral Threx stood inside the main observation hall when the destroyed ships were pulled in. He was a tall, cold man who never panicked, but when he looked at the smooth cuts across the metal, he felt something deep in his stomach tighten. No weapon in the known galaxy made cuts like this. Not even the oldest empires, not even the machines from the outer rings. He stepped closer and touched the metal edge. It felt warm, almost as if the destruction had happened only minutes ago. But the ships had been missing for 3 weeks. Council scientists walked around the wreckage, confused and scared. They scanned the cuts again and again. No radiation, no blast marks, no energy signatures. The ships did not explode. They did not get shot. They were simply divided, clean, exact, and almost beautiful in their symmetry. One scientist whispered, "It looks like someone measured the ship before cutting it." Another shook his head, "But who can do this? What kind of species destroys without leaving any trace?" No one answered. The council called for an emergency meeting. Every empire leader came. The hall was large, filled with floating screens and glowing maps. But today the room felt too small. Fear shrank everything. Admiral Threx showed the scans. Everyone stared in silent horror. Then he said words that made the room go cold. "These cuts match an old pattern." Senator leaned forward. "Old? How old?" "5 decades, Threx replied. Someone in the room gasped. Another whispered, "That is impossible." They vanished. Their world is gone. Everyone knew who they were talking about. Humans, 50 years ago, the humans were a rising power, known for their creative technology, strange courage, and dangerous unpredictability. But then their home system collapsed after a star explosion. Rumors said humanity died with it. Some believed a few survivors escaped, but no one ever found them. Still, the cuts in the metal, the measured destruction, the silent precision, it matched only one species. Many leaders refused to accept it. Humans were peaceful traders. A diplomat shouted. They helped more than they fought. "Yes," Admiral Threx replied, "but they had a rule. They do not bring peace into battlefield. When humans enter a war, they end it so cleanly that no one can fight again." No one wanted to believe him. But the evidence was right in front of them. The council sent a patrol unit to investigate the dark sector where the destroyed ships were found. The patrol included pilot Saron, a calm and curious officer. She had studied human history in her academy days and always admired them. She believed humans were misunderstood, fearless, emotional, and sometimes intense. But not monsters. They flew into the dark sector with slow engines, scanning every corner of space. The stars in that region looked dimmer, like something was covering their light. The crew felt a strange pressure, as if something watched them from the shadows. Saron touched her controls nervously. "Anything on scanners?" "Nothing," the technician replied, "but something feels wrong." Deep inside, Saron agreed. The silence was too strong. Space was never this quiet. Even empty space had noise, radiation, hum, passing dust, far-off signals. But here, nothing. Then something cold and human-like happened. A message appeared on every screen. No ship sent it. No signal was detected. It simply appeared, as if space itself wrote it. "Turn back. This zone is restricted." The entire crew froze. Saron stared at the glowing words. The message was written in Old Terran Standard, the human language. Not translated. Not converted. "Perfect Terran, this cannot be real," Saron whispered. But Admiral Threx, watching from the council hall, felt his heart stop. He remembered old recordings of human Navy warnings. Short, direct, no emotion, no threat. Just facts. And this message matched them exactly. Before the patrol could react, Shadows moved in the distance. Smooth, silent shapes drifted out from behind a dark moon. At first, the crew thought they were asteroids, but then the shapes turned, and lights along their sides glowed softly. Saran's voice trembled. That is, a ship, but it was not any normal ship. It was thin, long, and sharp like a blade. It made no engine sound, no heat trails. It floated like a ghost, almost invisible. Then 2 more ships appeared behind it. Then 5, then 10, all silent. All dark. The patrol crew could not breathe. Saran whispered, "These cannot be humans. Humans do not build ships like this." Admiral Threx recognized the shape. Humans had a technology called stealth bone frames, ships with flexible metal that moved like muscle. They were only prototypes long ago, but now they were real. One of the human ships moved closer, slowly, calmly, as if studying them. Then a human voice, calm and emotionless, filled the patrol ship. "You should not have come here." Saran's blood turned cold. There was no anger in the voice, no fear, no threat, only quiet confidence. The patrol ship shook slightly as a beam of blue light scanned the entire vessel. Not a weapon beam, a measuring beam. It checked every shield level, every weapon, every weak point. Humans were not attacking. They were calculating. Saran finally understood. These were not peacekeepers. These were not explorers. These were precision fighters, returning to a galaxy that believed they were gone, and this was only their silent arrival. Asterisk. The patrol ship floated helplessly as the silent human vessels circled them. No one spoke on the comms. No one moved. Every crew member felt as if they were standing inside the mouth of a sleeping beast. Pilot Saran tried to control her breathing. The human voice still echoed in her mind. Calm, cold, exact. "You should not have come here." It was not a threat. It was not a warning filled with emotion. It was simply a statement of fact, a statement only a species sure of its power would use. The ship's sensors blinked red. Something was scanning them again, but this time the scan was far more detailed. It passed through the patrol ship like a blade of blue light, reading every metal plate, every energy cell, every bolt. The technician whispered, "This is not a normal scan. It is mapping our weak points." Saran swallowed. Why would they need all this information? No one answered suddenly. A small object, detached from the nearest human ship. It was no larger than a fruit, perfectly round. Glowing faintly white, it drifted toward them slowly, almost politely. The patrol captain shouted, "Shields up." Nothing happened. The shields did not respond. The technician typed rapidly, but every command failed. "Our systems. They are shutting down on their own." The small glowing sphere stopped near the patrol ship's hull. Then it blinked once, and half of their ship went dark. Weapons offline. Engines frozen. External sensors dead. The crew panicked. But Saran stared at the sphere, unable to look away. "It is not destroying us," she whispered. "It is disabling us." Piece by piece. Admiral Threx watched from the council command room, his face turning pale. He recognized the device. Humans once experimented with something called precision node, a small machine that could disable any ship without hurting the crew. It worked on pure calculation, studying the enemy ship and shutting down every part that could cause danger. The council believed those devices were lost in the destruction of the human. Home world. Clearly, they were not. The human voice returned, calm and steady. "Do not resist. Resistance forces calculation of fatal outcomes." The patrol captain froze. "What does that mean?" Saran answered softly. "It means if we fight back, we die." The human ship stopped circling and formed a perfect ring around the patrol vessel. Clean, symmetrical, precise. Not even a single ship was 1 degree off. The human voice spoke again. "Your ship does not belong here. We will escort you out." The patrol crew looked at one another confused. Escort? They expected destruction. They expected death. But humans were doing something else. They were controlling the match situation without firing a single shot. The patrol captain gathered courage. "We mean no harm. We only want to talk." There was a long silence. Then the humans responded, "We do not communicate without purpose." Saran narrowed her eyes. There was something different about the tone. Humans used to show emotion in their voices: anger, joy, curiosity. This voice had none. It was disciplined, restrained, almost machine-like. It felt like humanity had evolved into something colder. The human ships suddenly moved fast, smooth, without any engine flare. They positioned themselves around the patrol vessel and began pushing it gently toward safer space. No contact, no weapons. Only controlled precision. Admiral Threx exhaled, relieved. At least they do not intend to kill us. But deep inside he worried, if humans could disable an entire ship so easily, what could they do to fleets? Meanwhile, inside the patrol ship, Saran kept watching the silent human vessels. Their surfaces had no marking, no number, no symbol, only smooth dark metal. They looked alive, like they were breathing. Then something strange happened. One of the human ships suddenly turned away from the patrol and shot into deep space at incredible speed. The others followed. The patrol crew stared as the ships vanished like shadows melting into a black wall. Saran blinked. Where are they going? The technician checked the scanner. "I am picking up a signal. It is a fleet, moving toward the border." Saran nodded slowly as realization hit her. "They are not running from us," she said. "They are going toward something." Back in the council hall, alarms blared. Screens filled with red signals. A massive enemy force and old rival empire was quietly gathering ships near the border. The council had not discovered it yet, but the humans had. Admiral Threx stepped back in shock. They scanned our enemies too. They knew what was coming. The council leaders panicked. Are the humans preparing for war? Did they come back to conquer us? Why did they let our patrol live? Threx shook his head. Humans do not fight for land. They fight for control, for order, for precision. Saran's patrol ship finally regained power. The sphere drifted away and returned to its human fleet. Then a final message flashed on there. Screen one sentence. Prepare yourselves. The next move will not be gentle. The message faded. The humans were gone, but the meaning stayed. They were preparing for something big, something violent, something exact. And the galaxy was not ready for it. The council began sending fleets toward the border, desperate to respond. But Saran stood alone near the viewport, staring into the silent dark. She whispered, almost to herself, humans do not bring peace. They bring precision. And for the first time in her life, she felt afraid of a species she once admired. The galaxy moved like a panicked animal. Fleets scrambled, borders locked down, warning lights flashed across star maps everywhere. But even with all their fear, no one truly understood what was coming. Only the humans understood. Only they knew what precision war looked like. Admiral Threx stood on the council command bridge. Watching the red dots gather on the eastern border, a hostile empire, the Draven Legion, had quietly prepared a massive invasion for months. Their ships were huge, loud, and violent. They relied on force and fire, not skill, but something had changed. The Draven fleet was slowing down, their engines flickered, their formation looked weird. Threx frowned. Something is disturbing their path. Then a signal appeared, tiny, almost invisible. A small, blinking dot. Saran, watching from her patrol ship, whispered another precision node. No. The Admiral's heart sank. No, not one. Because suddenly, 10 more dots appeared, then 20, then 50. They were everywhere, floating silently around the enemy fleet like small white seeds. Each node blinked once. The Draven ships began losing power. Not all at once. Not dramatically, but in perfect, calculated sequence. First, the shield systems shut off in a pattern that formed a clean spiral. Then the communication channels collapsed exactly every 8 seconds. Then the engine cores dimmed in beautiful, terrifying symmetry. The Draven ships panicked. They tried firing. Engines burned. Missiles launched. All missed because humans had already calculated their reaction time. A human voice, calm and cold, appeared across every council screen. Operation Precision is now active. And then, from the dark, they emerged. Not one, not 10, but hundreds of human ships thin. Sharp, silent, invisible until the last moment. They moved like shadows with purpose. They did not roar like engines. They whispered across the void. The council gasped. Sauron felt chills run across her skin. Every human ship held the same black metal body. No lights, no symbols, no colors. Only a single glowing white line across the hull like a heartbeat. The heartbeat of a resurrected species. A human commander spoke. "Stand down. Observe. Survival is possible if you do not interfere." Admiral Threx whispered. "They are not talking to the enemy. They are talking to us." Because humans did not want help. They wanted witnesses. The Draven Legion tried to regroup. They formed a thick wall of ships, preparing to fire. It was a powerful formation, one feared for generations. But humans did not flinch. They moved like a single organism, turning in perfect angles. Every ship aligned with perfect timing, as if following a silent conductor. Then the white lines on their ships flashed once, and the attack began. No explosions. No firestorms. No chaotic fighting. Just cold mathematics. A thin beam shot from the first human vessel. It did not destroy. It sliced off the Draven flagship's communication. Tower 2, the millimeters shutting down their leadership. Instantly, another human ship fired. Pulse that disabled 20 enemy ships in a perfect circle. Another. Ship launched micro-drones that latched onto engines. Turning them off like switches, every human shot hit exactly where it needed to. No wasted power. No stray damage. No accident. Precision death. Sauron watched in shock. She had seen battles before, but never like this. It looked less like war and more like surgery. One Draven commander shouted through an open channel, "Fight back! Fire everything!" The Draven fleet unleashed a massive barrage. Missiles flew in every direction. Energy blasts streaked across space, but humans had already calculated the angles. Ships tilted exactly 93 degrees. Others slid sideways with inhuman accuracy. Human vessels moved only centimeters when needed, avoiding every shot with perfect efficiency. Not a single human ship was hit. Not one. The Draven Legion realized they were fighting something far beyond their understanding. Something terrifying. Something precise. Admiral Threx whispered, "This is not war. This is control." Then came the final moment. The human commander spoke again. Calculations complete. Every human ship turned as one. Every white line glowed, then dashed nothing. No explosion, no flash, no sound, but one by one. The Draven ships powered down. Engines cold. Weapons dead. Shields empty. Communication dark. The entire enemy fleet went silent. Sauron felt her heart stop. They disabled the whole fleet. The human commander answered her unspoken thought. Non-fatal outcomes preserve. Resources. Humans could have destroyed everything, but they did not. They only ended the threat with mathematical accuracy. The council fell into quiet shock. "Admiral," Threx finally spoke, voice weak. "Why return now? What do you want?" The human voice answered, cold but not cruel. "We do not seek territory. We do not seek rule. We seek correction." Sauron stepped forward, staring at the silent human ships. "Correction? Correction of what?" A long pause. Then the words appeared across every screen in every empire. The galaxy grew loud. The galaxy grew violent. We returned to remove the chaos. The message continued. Peace is not created by hopes. Peace is created by precision. The galaxy finally understood. Humans had not returned as diplomats, not as explorers, not as friends. They returned as the scalpel to clean a diseased galaxy. Admiral Threx whispered the truth every empire had feared. Humans do not bring peace. They bring the exact shape of death needed to create it. The human ships turned and vanished into the dark, silent, deadly, perfect. And for the first time in history, the galaxy trembled not because humans were monsters, but because humans were too precise to stop.